how sometimes people say marriage changes everything? Well, Ayesha Curry's current podcast appearance might just be the perfect example of that. Because once again, she's trending, and not for her cooking or for her brand deals, but for her words. She said she never wanted to have kids, never dreamed of being a wife, that she had her own career, and social media, they are dragging her like she just committed a crime. Some people are saying she's ungrateful, others are saying she's just being honest about how womanhood and motherhood can shift your dreams. But let's get into the full gist because this conversation is deep. So guys, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, don't forget to click that subscribe button and turn on your post notification. So here's what happened. Aisha went on a podcast and opened up about how when she was younger, she didn't really imagine herself as a wife or mom. She had her own goals, her own paths, and life just kind of took a different turn when she met Steph. She got married young, had kids early, and in her own words, she said, you never really know what you want until life happens. Now, that statement doesn't sound too wild, right? But the internet twisted it into Aisha regrets being a wife and mother. And then the think pieces started flying. Some people say Ayesha Curry is the perfect example of why women should live life for themselves before settling down. Others were like, see, feminism is destroying marriages. This is what happens when women want to be girl bosses instead of homemakers. Like, now, here's my honest take. I think Aisha is being human. She's not saying she hates her life or that Steph did her wrong. She's reflecting that honestly, it takes guts to admit that motherhood and marriage sometimes, especially when you do them early, can come with sacrifices. Let's be real, she married Steph when they were both young. He blew up in NBA. Suddenly, her world shifted. Instead of building her own career, she became Steph Curry's wife. That's not a small title. It's global, but it also means she got boxed into be the NBA wife. That's not a small title. It's global, but it also means she got boxed into be the NBA wife, the mother, and maybe she never got to fully explore Aisha the woman. Now, some people online say she married a man she thought she was better than, and when he blew up, she couldn't undo it. That's a hashtag, and I get where it's coming from. Because from the outside, it does seem like she always tried to reclaim the independence she had before the fame and family. And let's be honest, Aisha has had her own share of moments like this. Remember when she once said she doesn't like how women show themselves as her husband? Or had that very time she said she wished people looked at her the way they look at other women. Well, this isn't her first internet storm. But one thing I respect about her, she speaks her truth whether you agree with her or not. She doesn't pretend her life is perfect. Now, about the people saying feminism is a detriment to society. That's a stretch. What feminism is supposed to mean is a choice. Woman being able to choose her own path, whether that's being a mom, a CEO, or both. Actually, just showing that sometimes, even when you have everything people say you should want, a rich husband, beautiful kids, fame, you can still feel unfulfilled, and that's not about feminism. That's about identity. I think our comments scare people because they challenge their fantasy. That fantasy that once you get the man, the ring, and the family, you never feel like something's missing. Well, I should just prove that life isn't always that simple. And let's not add that men don't go through this too. Steph probably has moments where he feels pressure too to always be perfect, always win, always carry the family name. But because he's a man, nobody says he's ungrateful when he vents. So why is Aisha honestly such a big deal? Maybe it's because society still doesn't know how to handle women who admit they are not 100% satisfied even when their life looks perfect. Yes, another angle. What if Aisha isn't complaining about evolving? People grow. The dream you had at 20 might not be the same at 35. Maybe now she wants something more for herself beyond the home, and that doesn't mean she regrets being a wife or a mom. It just means she wants to rediscover herself. And then again, you can't ignore how our words make Steph look like. If you were Steph hearing my wife publicly say he doesn't understand me, it will sting because from his side, he's probably thinking, what more can I do? I gave you everything. That's where I think communication is key because love alone doesn't sustain marriage, alignment does. At the end of the day, I don't think Aisha hates being married or being a mom. I think she's realizing that success, motherhood, and identity, they can clash, especially when your husband's career took off faster than yours could ever. So yeah, I get both sides. I get people defending her, and I get the one saying, girl, you're living the dream. Be grateful. But one thing I would say, you can have love, marriage, and fame, money, everything, and still crave purpose. And that's the reality I should just reminded everyone of. So what do you think? Is I should just be honest about reality of womanhood and marriage, or is she just ungrateful and projecting her regrets? Because me, I think this conversation says more about how we view women than it does about Aisha herself. Anyways, that's the full gist. Let me know what you think down below. Do you agree with her or not? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notification because always bring you the reaches here. I'll see you in the next one.